so much for joining Gold Media. You look
Hi, thank you so
stunning.
much for having me. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you. It's a privilege.
I wanted to begin the interview with something else, but looking at your gorgeous face, please tell us about the beauty secret.
Well, I totally avoid carbs. I avoid the sun. If I do go out in the sun, because I go on a lot of rescue operations for victims of domestic violence or human trafficking with the law enforcement, I wear a lot of sunscreen and a hat, and I'm in jeans and long sleeve t-shirts. So actually, No More Tears t-shirts that No More Tears makes. So
I think you are just being humble right now because you look absolutely gorgeous, and I think you're maybe genetically you are blessed
well,
to
when
have a flawless.
your mother is Middle Eastern and your father is Indian, I think that mix. I think I have whole wheat skin, as I like to call my complexion, like whole wheat bread. I think I'm whole wheat, and I think that ages well, doesn't age poorly. And also, I really take care of what I eat, and I have a full skin routine at night and in the morning with moisture, eye moisturizer, with face moisturizer. Like I take care of myself fully. So
Great. That's why your skin looks flawless.
thank you.
So, Somi, what
Yes.
an incredible job with this recent rescue. Tell us about No More Tears. Tell us about how do you deal with the sex traffickers and what motivated you to get into addressing such a big issue that we are facing today.
Well, I didn't initiate No More Tears for human trafficking. I initiated after I finished my master's in psychology, social work, journalism, which is your forte, and victim advocacy. And I also have 2 degrees in filmmaking, documentary filmmaking. So after I did all of that, I made my first film about a woman. She was gang raped in Pakistan by 4 men because they have caste systems in Pakistan, and her 9-year-old brother held a hand of another girl's caste system. So, in order to punish her, they made her walk naked in the village from her house to her from her house to that boy's house and that family, and apologized to them. And she was naked. And I made a film on her called I Can Survive. And my first documentary film aired at, then she was a senator, Hillary Clinton's benefit, where this woman, Mukhtar Mai, got an award for her courage because she opened up a school for girls in the village. And the guys who raped her and made her walk naked, she enrolled their sons in her school. So that was my first documentary film. It was called I Can Survive, and I was so happy that Senator Hillary Clinton at that time, she was a senator, she wanted the film to air at her benefit. It was great. So anyway, coming back to your question, I started it for domestic violence. I grew up in an extremely dysfunctional home. There was severe, I lived in a 28-bedroom house. On the first floor was my father's film studio. My father used to be a producer, director, cinematographer. He had an advertising agency. So I don't know if you know Javed Sheikh. I think he was in Om Shanti Om. He played with Shabana Azmi in the song. That Javed Sheikh is someone my father introduced as an actor. And I used to literally like sit in his lap as a child because the studio was in our house. But what happened is, aesthetically, from the outside, you see a mansion and the most beautiful house in the world. But inside the house, there are tons of horrific and awful incidents taking place on a daily basis. So it's quite the contrary. And that's why I say never judge a book by its cover. You never judge a person. And I always say that about the trolls. You don't know what's going on in someone's life. If they're smiling, it doesn't mean they're happy. And this reminds me of my mom well, mom loved Amitji more. I loved Raji. When I was 9 years old, I no, when I was 10 years old, we visited India, and I gave Rajesh Khanna Kakaji a kurta from Pakistan. And I said that when I grow up, I want to marry you. I was a huge fan of Rajesh Khanna. And I think Chintuji, because I did a photo shoot with Chintuji, and we started talking a lot. And he told me, he said, keep looking for Raj Kiran. Don't stop looking for him because he's somewhere in America. He was very concerned, and Dipti Naval and a lot of people were very concerned about Raj Kiran and if he's okay. So I promised Chintuji that I will never stop looking for him. But there was a lot of domestic violence in the house. I was sexually abused at the age of 5 by the cook in the house. And my mother was a victim of domestic violence, and all her friends that would come over. My mother was, a top-notch socialite, so to speak, in the high-class society woman. But if you saw her bruises, they were all covered. So in India, Pakistan, these countries, Saudi Arabia, I thought it was all those countries where domestic violence existed. When I moved to America, when I started No More Tears, I realized it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's not you're just specific to a certain country. It's in all cultures. And I ended up, and this is our 17th year in January 2024. This morning I did a tally. We have rescued 42,932 victims, men, women, children, and members of our LGBTQ community, who I am a huge proponent for, because their crimes go underreported because many of them are from a different country. They don't have immigration paperwork. So the abusers threaten them that they'll get deported, so they don't go to the police or call the police. And 42,932 people in 17 years, and after 8 attacks, I still have a tendon. My shoulder was completely broken for 1 year. I'm still healing. Now I have a tendon that's broken, so I'm still in the healing process. On top of that, to tackle the trauma I endured as a child, watching my mother get abused, and then being sexually abused at 5, and again at the age of 9, before moving to the US by the chowkidar. We say chowkidar in Pakistan, and I think they say the same thing. They say watchman in India.
Yeah.
तो पाकिस्तान में हमारा जो चौकीदार था, उसने मुझे जो है, he sexually abused me जब मैं 9 साल की थी. उसके बाद फिर मैं अमेरिका आ गई, और 14 साल की उम्र में, I was 14, I was raped by a 17-year-old boy in a park who I actually had a crush on. And he called me. There were no cell phones back then when I was 14. And he called me from a grocery store, and he said, can you come downstairs? I used to live in an apartment in America, and he said, there's an emergency. I really need to talk to you. And I won't go into details, but it was very sad that I lost my virginity to rape. So all of these bad things that my mother, my brother also, which I don't want to share it because I don't have his consent, and I respect his privacy. But it was a horror show every day inside that 28-bedroom mansion. All of that bad. When human beings go through a lot of bad, there's 2 paths. You take the road that's less traveled, or you take the road that people take, which is the self-destructive road where you get into drugs and alcoholism and you try to numb the pain. I drowned myself into education. I had to get a GED because when I was 16, I moved to India and dropped out of 9th grade. So I had to get a general education diploma. That means I had to finish high school before I could get my bachelor's. So I got my GED, got my bachelor's, got my master's, went to 2 film schools in New York, And I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I decided I wanted to be a TV anchor. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to save the world, do news, journalism, write articles. But I ended up, starting No More Tears. And I learned about human trafficking in 2009. I didn't understand what it was. And then I went back because I'm writing my memoir at the moment, and I'm at the point in my book where I'm in India. I have just reached India and I've been living there. And I remember that we used to have a rehearsal hall called Mangla Hall in India. I don't know if it's still there in Juhu, Mangla Hall. And next to Mangla Hall, there were all these young girls with like pounds and pounds of makeup, and they used to wear saris, and they were very young, and they would go in auto rickshaws with different men all the time. And I was 16, so I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask anyone, but now I know what was going on.
Oh, I am really sorry, Somi, to hear what you have gone through. So,
Thank you.
growing up, I think you grew up in a mansion, but then really your parents were emotionally and physically absent to give you any kind of support.
Well, I can't blame my mother, because my mother, her way of escaping the violence was going out with her friends. She was a socialite. And all her friends, that auntie so and so would come over, and auntie so and so, every auntie that came over that was mom's friend had bruises. So I always asked my mom, I said, why? And the universal euphemism for domestic violence is, I fell down the stairs. That's what everyone says. It's ridiculous. And
Ridiculous.
to date, even in America, people say that. I am a serial security. India mein bhi kehte hain, Pakistan mein bhi kehte hain, America mein kehte hain, I fell down the stairs, or I bumped my head if you have a black eye. So it's really, when you see all these things, and it just makes you wonder. I'm more spiritual than religious. So I believe in a higher power. I don't believe in dogma. I don't believe in books that were written 2,000 years ago. I'm more spiritual, and I like to meditate. I do pray to a higher power, but I don't believe in the books, because especially many of the books, they deem homosexuality to be a sin. And I'm a huge proponent of my LGBTQ brothers and sisters. And I've saved so many of them, especially during COVID time, because they couldn't get out. So the parents, when they found out that the daughter was a lesbian or the son was gay, they would beat the kid to the pulp and kick them out of the house during COVID time. And we rescued so many members from the LGBT community during COVID. And that's something that's I always go for the underdog. Even when I was 7 in Pakistan, I couldn't so Pakistan's border and Afghanistan's border is like right next to one another.
Right.
But I would always ask my dad if he would like to, I'd be in the car and I would be sitting next to him, and he would always, my father was always, none of us are black and white. I'm not a saint. And I'm not a complete sinner, and I'm not a complete saint. We're all gray. So my dad, he always gave money to the people who were begging, and especially children. He was very soft-hearted when it came to children. And I said, Daddy, why do we live in such a big house, and why are these kids on the streets? And my father, he's extremely religious, and he said, beta, ye upar wale ne kismat ki baat hai. So
Yeah.
I was like, it didn't really make sense to me as a 7-year-old that kismat ki baat hai, that luck has anything to do with that. I remembered the first time I learned how to whistle. I whistled to my dad, like to show off that, Daddy, look, I learned how to whistle. And he said, girls don't ask questions and girls don't whistle.
Yes.
And that's what I was taught at the age of 7. So what I did is I brought I had a driver. I was very spoiled. I had a driver. In my dad's office, there was a drawer that was Somy's drawer with lots of money to buy toys. And at 7 or 8 years old, I took my driver to the toy store shop, bought lots of toys, and then I picked up 4 Afghanistani refugee children and got them in the back seat of my car. Young, 2 boys and no, 1 boy, 3 girls. I still remember they were gorgeous. They had blonde hair, green eyes. Because Afghanistani women and men, children, they're beautiful. And I hid them in my cupboard. We call it closet here, but I hid them in my cupboard and I would play with them with those toys when I was 8 years old and feed them dal chawal quietly without my father knowing until he found out. And then he said, Beta, you have to get rid of them. They cannot live in your cupboard. I said, well, we have 28 rooms. And my father said, no doing. It's not going to happen. We can't do it. So I was, and I always, even at this age, as a middle-aged woman, I always wondered what happened to those 4 kids. Because they were around my age, and I always wondered, like, what happened to them. Anyway, so then after America, at 16, I moved to India because I had a crush on Salman. The whole world knows that by now. I watched Maine Pyar Kiya. I had a dream that night. I have to go marry Salman Khan and he's going to be my savior. And keep in mind, this is someone who's 16. The brain is not fully developed till we're 25. So, and the rest is history. I ended up going there, stayed in Sea Rock. Rakesh Shrestha, the photographer, I remember, was huge at the time. He used to tell people, ye struggle kari hai Sea Rock Hotel se. Struggling actor hai Sea Rock Hotel mein aati hai. So he used to make fun of me. But I used to tell all of them, I'm not here to act. I have zero interest in acting. Although I did a lot of commercials for my father when I was a child. For like baby milk or formula, milk powder or whatever. Or even my dad had a factory of detergent, clothes washing, laundry detergent. I did a commercial for that, like jingle, supari, like Naspan masala, I would say Naspan, some commercials I did. Sabun or powder ko bhul jaiye, dhulai ke liye shine apnaiye. I was like 7. I did all these commercials for my dad. So, but things got, so the fairy tale took quite a detour, and I would say a complete 180. Prem was not Prem by any means. And it just ended very badly. I had to leave. If I had not left Mumbai in 19, I left right before Arbaz and Malaika got married, and they got married in 99 December. So I left 2 weeks before they got married. I went to Pakistan, first I called my dad. I told my dad a little bit. I didn't want him to know a lot. And he sent me a ticket, and I went to Pakistan, and then for 2 days, and I flew straight back home to Miami, Florida. And I stayed with my mom, got my GED, got my education, started No More Tears, and here we are in the 17th year. And we've rescued and done so much good, but it all came from so much bad. There was so much bad. And I think that I don't believe in someone who's going to be under a bridge shooting heroin and having a self-pity party, which no one cares for. When you're a downer, when you're that one person in the group that brings people down, no one wants to be around you. So I fought hard and strong. And I also have a very dark sense of humor, so that helps. But every time I go out with my girlfriends for dinner, they all ask each other how their day was. They always skip me, and I'm like, hey, I'm here. And they're like, no, we don't want to hear it. Because it's so gruesome. I actually had a baby girl die in my arms because she was raped. So I'm dealing with very serious issues. It's a big deal. But it's worth, if I lose my life doing this work, what a life to have lived. what a legacy to leave behind. And I'm not saying this with an iota of pomposity or being conceited, but this was my destiny and fate to do this work. And I've been doing it for so long. And then I also get to do photo shoots, which is fun because a lot of American magazines, I get called. And then also I do stuff for India still.
Right.
And I get so excited because that's the only time I get to get my makeup on and wear nice fancy outfits. And because I in No More Tears, I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers because I'm running around rescuing victims, so I can't be dressing up, and I'm not putting on makeup to go rescue a victim. So I have my hair in a bun, and I just wash my face, take a shower, rush, and go with the law enforcement and help victims. And we provide every service under the sun, and we've gotten teachers, people that are doctors, lawyers, victim advocates. We had a victim who started her own nonprofit in Kentucky, in another state, and her case went on for 5 years. We have OBGYNs, we have therapists that speak Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, Sindhi, Marathi. I mean, but any language you can think of. So we have a lot of victims that come, are brought here from India. Right now, I have 18 women, one minor child, and I got a call at 4:30 a.m. I think 3 days ago. There are 18 girls flying in from Mumbai, from India. They didn't say Mumbai, from India, because they are from various parts of India, from Rajasthan, from Punjab, from Sindh, I don't know, different places. Fortunately, I knew the dialects because when I was shooting for my 11 movies that I did, I traveled all these places, from Shimla to Kullu Manali to Uti, which are my favorite places in the world. And Rajasthan, I want to retire in Rajasthan. I want to like open up a school in Rajasthan for kids who can't afford education, and also open up a shelter for domestic violence victims in Rajasthan. I've got a good 20, 30 years for that, but that's my plan, unless something happens to me before that. And I've been attacked 8 times. The seventh one was, no, sorry, the second one was when a guy put a gun to my head. We had an office, we had to shut down the office, and he said, this is a warning, and next time you won't be alive. So I had to move my house, shut down the office, and work from home or from the police departments, and be with the law enforcement all the time. And because I could have died. And I'm not being melodramatic, because these people
They're
are
serious, very
they're
serious.
cartels. They work with drug cartels, mafias, gangs. They have the knives, and they shoot people like they're eating food. It's as common and normal to them to just shoot a person like at the drop of a hat. And it's very dangerous work. It's not easy. It's draining.
So, Somi, you talked about your um, relationship with Salman so openly, and then the kind of scar you have and you still carry. So, he has a different image altogether. He's known for his charitable work, he's known for his humble heart. So, there is a big fan following that truly believes in Salman Bhai. What kind of proofs you have to substantiate what you've gone through?
Well, he's abused me in front of a few actresses, and I'm not going to take their names, that I was very close to. He isolated me from them. Dinesh Raheja used to be a journalist, or he was with Filmfare. I don't remember. He's a wonderful person. He happened to be there at the incident when the incident took place in a restaurant. And so he covered it in Filmfare. And I was so naive that in Cineblitz, I think, I got the cover page when the quote says, Salman hits me because he loves me and he cares for me. Because I was so naive about domestic violence because I was used to it from growing up in my house. I went, my mom was abused all her life. Her mom was abused, and then her mom was abused. So it was a norm in our culture, and we don't talk about children being sexually abused or women being sexually abused. Do you think that any actress in India back in the 80s or 90s or 70s has never been slapped by any actor who's her husband? Or even if it's not an acting profession, a businessman or a doctor and a nurse that are married, that the doctor hasn't beaten his wife in Pakistan or India. Domestic violence is so common in those cultures and those countries. But again, I reiterate, it is universally everywhere. Like child sexual abuse, physical abuse of children, everywhere. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is
You talked
everywhere.
about living in his house for over 2 years. How were the other family members? How was the behavior? Like you talked about Malaika, Arbaz, and everybody.
Malaika was extremely kind. I always thought she was the most stunning person I've ever seen after Rekhaji, of course. And Arbaz was the most intellectual one in the family. I always saw him with a book. He was also extremely kind and nice. And Sohail was very nice. And my favorite person in that house was Salmanti. She took me in like her daughter. She gave me tons of love. And the most honest person in that family is Salim uncle. He always said
Very
it like it
upfront,
was.
right?
Very
Upfront.
upfront, said it like it was. Never ever went around, beat around the bush or anything. He just said it like it was, straight to your face. And but everyone was very, very wonderful to me. The people I'm not going to name were horrible to me, beyond horrible. And
Yeah.
you can make sense of who I'm not mentioning in this in the family. So
When Black Buck happened, when Black Buck really happened, you were the active girlfriend at that point.
what year was that? Because I came back in '99 December.
So, do you have any insight on what was the incident like?
What year did that take place in? Because or was I there, or was I already? It was
You
during.
were there, I think. Yeah.
It was with Neelam and Tabu and that movie Hum Saath, something Hum Saath, Hum, I don't know.
Yeah, Hum
Some
Saath
movie.
Saath Hain.
Hum Saath Saath Hain. Thank you. Yeah, I think I was there, and I remember Salman specifically stopped taking me for hunting because I would say a prayer that, please God, don't let any animal come around. And he stopped taking me because he said that your prayers always come true and we come back empty handed. So he actually believed that I was jinxing it. And because I didn't like, I don't
Animal
appreciate,
abused.
I
Yeah.
don't appreciate hunting to be a sport, and I don't appreciate the fact that we have the power to kill people, I mean animals that have done nothing to us. Just as a sport is despicable, in my opinion. And I had 4 dogs when I was in undergrad and getting my bachelor's degree. I love animals. And I always told him, I said, look, this is not fun. Like, it's not. But his entourage, I mean, Salman, if Salman says it's night and the sun is shining, it's night. So that's how the world works. It's a male dominated world, even in America. In 2024, we're taking slavery out of our textbooks thanks to our governor. And we are the Native Americans whose land we took in the US. I
Yeah.
mean, they're suffering the most, and no one is paying any attention to them. The Native American history has been taken out of the textbooks, so the children don't learn about it. It's despicable. Also, why isn't anyone doing anything about the Dalit system, the caste system in India and in Pakistan? We're in 2024. What is going on with that? Why? Well, I love Amir Khan as an actor. My number one favorite actor is Shah Rukh, and I absolutely have immense respect for him and his wife Gauri. She's beautiful. She's always been nothing but kind to me every time she came to the house to meet Salman's sister, because she's friends with her sister, very close friends. And I just have the utmost respect for Shah Rukh as not only as an actor, but every reel on Instagram, he says, all you have to do is respect women. Don't use profanity in front of them. Treat them with respect. Never abuse them. And Amir, I find to be perhaps Amin and Shah Rukh are the most phenomenal actors after, of course, Rajesh Khanna, who I wanted to marry when I was 10. And then Amit Ji, of course. But I see, mom loved Amitabh Bachchan. I loved Rajesh Khanna. It was really funny. But Amit Ji is a superb actor. I mean, it's so sad we lost. I mean, I cried actually day before yesterday or yesterday when Prashant told me that Mitunda he collapsed on a film set.
Yeah, I saw your post. Yeah,
I
that's
couldn't stop
amazing.
crying. I think I cried as much as I cried for Rajesh Khanna, for Kakaji, and for Chintuji, because I met him as a child, but
Yeah.
very peculiar thing happened, very strange. The night before, I was watching Kati Patang, and the next morning, I got a call from Salman, and because he knew I was madly in love, and I had a huge crush on him since I was a child, and I loved those. I don't know if you've seen Bawarchi or Anand or
Yes.
or Dag or Amar. I think Amar Prem. I don't know. With Sharmila Tagore plays his mother. I don't know those movies. Kuch to log kahenge, logon ka kaam hai kehna. All those movies, those songs, those scripts. I mean, he was phenomenal. Those scripts. Nowadays, I always have to ask Prashant, can I watch this movie in front of my mom? Because you can't. I mean, I saw Animal and I was like, because it came out on Netflix and I had never seen Ranbir Kapoor's movies. I only saw his song Ghagra. I don't know what the song's called, but I know it as Ghagra because it's with my favorite, another favorite actress, Madhuri, and the best dancer. And who can forget Hrithik Roshan? I mean, he's like a robot. I feel like his body organs are like built with like robotic arms and legs. No one can dance like Hrithik, and no one. Right. And Madhuri Dixit ji and Hema ji, Meenakshi. Meenakshi was an excellent dancer. She was wonderful, and was she in Damini? I think she helps someone who's raped or something, a servant who's something. I don't know. Anyone who took a stand and did something substantial. What I loved about Shah Rukh, acting wise, is that he was a very versatile and is a very versatile actor, because I recently saw a movie of his. Sometimes I reminisce, and the only way to reminisce is watch my Hindi movies from when I was a kid, or go all the way back to Shri 420. I loved Avara, Shri 420, and everything with Nargis ji and Raj Kapoor ji. I mean, I went all the way back there. I swear to God, I have a 90-year-old soul in this body. But I saw Animal, and I had never seen Ranbir act, because I was, every time Chintuji and I bumped into studios, we would have a little chat, and he would, like I said, he always told me, you're from America. When you go there, try to find Raj. We've been looking for him, and which I won't disclose it now, but I'm working on it. I just couldn't get myself to see a movie of Ranbir because I couldn't get over the loss of Chintuji. I cried the hardest when Chintuji died. and passed away. And finally, I got myself together and I said, I have to see his son act because people are raving. And I saw the film. I'm not going to comment on the script, but I will say he's a phenomenal actor. And also, he reminds me because I worked with Sanju, and he reminds me. If I close my eyes, I thought I was hearing Sanju, and the way he carries himself with the cigarette and all that stuff. There was a little bit of Sanju in him, and apparently he did a biopic on Sanju, and which Prashant told me, and I saw
It's a great
snippets of.
movie. It's a
I
great.
saw I saw snippets of it, and I felt like it was Sanju there. I was literally watching Sanju. I mean, he's an excellent actor. One act I've never seen Ranveer Singh. I've never seen his films. Apparently, he's amazing. Also, I love, love, love his fashion sense. It's so funky and so fun, and I have huge, huge respect for his wife, Deepika, because she spoke out on mental health issues, started a foundation. And for someone who has a master's degree in psychology and a bachelor's degree, that's a big step for someone to admit that they had mental health issues and they sought help. They did not ignore the fact or avoid it. They sought help, and she was so brave and open, and there was so much courage that she shed on the subject. I'm so proud of her, and I don't know her personally because all these young ladies have come after my time. I left in '99, and but I still, I mean, I have my favorites. Rani Mukherjee is someone who, I mean, I have watched Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna at least like 10 times because it's so true to life when you sometimes are paired with the person you think you'll be happy with, and it turns out that your opposites don't attract sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And I knew Karan and Manish, we were a group. Like we were stuck together like glue. I knew Manish when Manish had a Darzi, a seamstress in a garage. And I knew him from back then. And he did the Pink Sari song from Ant, Aja Jaan Ja, with Sunil Shetty. That's Saroj Khan choreographed. That song in itself had me sign 10 movies. So I owe it to Saroj Khan and Manish Malhotra for dressing me up in that pink sari. Because that song, I mean, people went crazy with that song, and Ant went to a silver jubilee. And Sunil Shetty and I were in acting school with Roshan Taneja. Half the time, I was practically never there. I was at Shiv Sagar eating pav bhaji. Because again, I was not interested. The irony of this, and I was just writing this down to Prashant in one of the interviews. The irony is that I never went there to act. I went there to get married to Salman. I had already thought about the names of a boy and a girl, and like a 16-year-old, you have a license to think stupidly, and I ended up working with the biggest actors of India. I still can't, like when my brother says that in itself, if that is a story and that's your legacy, that's lunatic. Do you know how many people had a crush on Salman after Maine Pyar Kiya? And you actually went there, didn't
And
know
made it.
didn't know anyone, and acted and decided to act in films only because you could meet Salman. And I carried a picture in my wallet in case I forget what he looks like. When we went to Nepal to shoot for Buland, I took it out and I said, look here, I brought a picture. And he said, why do you have a picture of me in your wallet? And I said, well, I wanted to make sure that I don't forget, like, because you're a new actor. And he started laughing. And I said, I've come from America to marry you. And he said, what? I said, yeah, I had a dream. I watched Maine Pyar Kiya and I had a dream. I woke up, I started looking for a suitcase. My mom told me to not leave my bedroom until she tells me to. But I called my father and I said, I want to see Taj Mahal, and we have family in Lokhandwala before the partition because dad was born in India. There was no Pakistan before that. So my grandparents were Indians, were from India. My dad is from India. He was born in India, and we have family in Lokhandwala. And I told my dad, I want to see Taj Mahal. I want to meet my extended family. Can I please come to India? I don't like it in America. I dropped out of ninth grade, duped my father. I till to date have not seen Taj Mahal, which is ridiculous because when we were in Delhi, I think it was for Salman had a shoot in Delhi. And I said, okay, can we see Taj Mahal? He said, Somy, Taj Mahal is in Agra. It's not in Delhi. It's an 8-hour drive. I was like, oh God. Okay. So this time, and my birthday is March 25th. And I'm trying to make it possible to get there and see Taj Mahal. I have to fulfill, that's part of my bucket list. I have to see Taj Mahal.
I see that
Especially,
India and Bollywood is so much in your heart, Somi. Do you ever want to go back to Bollywood and start your acting career again?
well, given I have 2 degrees in filmmaking, editing, script writing, I would like to direct, produce films on mental health issues, domestic violence, human trafficking, substantial movies. Do you know that cinematically, the Hindi cinema has only made one film on child sexual abuse, and that is Monsoon Wedding? That's the only one. And Shefali Shah, I don't know her personally, but she is amazing in her performance in
Phenomenal
Monsoon.
actress, right?
And she's a phenomenal actress. I don't know her personally, but I hope she hears this. I have so much respect for her craft. She is so good. And why one film on sexual abuse of children? And I mean, everything. When I was a child, mom was into Amitabh Bachchan, Parveen Babi, Zinat Aman. Zinat used to actually live opposite. I lived in Vindhyachal, and she used to live Mazhar Bhai, and she used to live opposite where I lived. And right next to them, it was Jackie and Aisha. They used to live right next to my place, my apartment in Vindhyachal, until I moved into. After I moved from Sirak, I moved into an apartment. If you go up on Mount Mary, Vindhyachal is there. Then I ended up moving and living in Salman's house for 2 years. So
Okay, what about Big Boss? What is your take on Big Boss?
I
Do
have
you
never
know?
seen it. I've never seen it in my life. I haven't seen the American version of it either. Not because I don't want to, but I just don't have the time. And to be completely candid with you, I do not watch any movies or anything pertaining to Salman. I refuse to do it. And I have I mean, a building or maybe 10 buildings full of ammunition of reasons why I choose not to do that. And you tell me to watch a Shah Rukh film, wake me up at 3 o'clock, I'm ready. Tell me to watch an Amir Khan film, I'm ready. Because Shah Rukh and Amir is a very intellectual individual. I've never acted with him. We did one photo shoot. He's very intellectual and he's a very good actor. And Shah Rukh, again, I mean, he literally, Shah Rukh, Rani, and Kajol are the 3 people that can literally make me bawl my eyes out. Like, just look at Shah Rukh's eyes when he's doing an
Beautiful,
emotional. It's
charismatic.
I'm like, do people like this exist in the real world? Apparently not. That's why I'm still single, because they don't, and or they're taken. But he knows his craft, and he's so humble. Even today, he says that he might sing a song, I'm the best, but he says that every time he enters a set, walks onto a set, he works as hard as he can, and he wants to prove to the directors and the producers that he's working very hard and putting not 100%, 200% in his character and his acting, his performances. And for someone who's the king of Bollywood, or the Hindi cinema. I don't like the term Bollywood. I like to say Hindi cinema. And I learned that from Amitji, and I agree with him because he doesn't like the term Bollywood either. And for being the king of Hindi cinema and being so humble and walking into a room with such humility or a set, it just shows what the human being is truly like. And I have ADD,
Don't
so
watch any of
I go
Salman's
ahead.
work. Somi, sorry to cut you short. Um, you don't watch Salman's work because you have not moved on, or it's because the scar is so deep that you just don't want to bring back his memories? Because I'm pretty sure he has moved on in his life and is, very happy the way he is living.
Really? He's got death threats. He's got a gazillion lawsuits, and uh, he can't go to sleep without drinking because he has a lot of demons. And I don't think that he's all that happy and set. Um, and I don't want to watch his films because of what he put me through for 8 years from the age of 16 to 24, which I will refrain from talking about because otherwise this interview is never going to air. But I'm going to put it this way. I don't hate people. I don't hate anyone. And there are a lot of people that have done a lot of bad things to me, whether be it in India, especially because I was a child and I was left alone in a Sirak hotel without a guardian. Anyone with any elderly person who had their hand on my head to take care of me and to guide me. And the only guidance I got from my protector, allegedly, who was supposed to be my protector, was from Salman. And it was the complete opposite of that. I was isolated from my friends. I was, verbal abuses, to put it mildly. But again, I don't want to get into it. I don't want your channel to not air this interview because it's important for No More Tears. And I've been talking about it and giving interviews from the 90s. So when I did a post on what Salman did to me on my Instagram, I was shocked at the women, the profanity that they used towards me. They called me a publicity whore, a publicity stunt. पब्लिसिटी की भूखी है, डेस्परेट हो गई है, सटिया गई है, सिटक गई है, दिमाग खराब हो गया क्या, all the stuff they would say, the trolls. And I'm thinking these are actual women that are in love or have crushes on Salman, and they don't even know Salman. I didn't know Salman. Look, just because Salman is very good to you or to Amir or Shahrukh or to anyone else, or Sangeeta Bijlani, who's back in his life now, I'm actually bewildered about that fact. How is she like literally back in his life after what went on between all of us? I don't understand that. It's beyond my comprehension. But I guess she's a bigger person than I am because she had the ability to forgive. And I like I said, I don't hate anyone, but there's something in people that are wired wrong, like Hitler or Stalin. I love history. I'm a history buff, so I read all sorts of biographies. And Hitler and Stalin were abused very badly in their childhoods. So was I. I didn't grow up and start beating up people. I opened a charity and decided to help people who are abused so they don't feel the same way I felt or my mother felt. But one element is missing in people that do these kind of things, where they get pleasure, sadistic pleasure, or they have fetishes, where they beat up women or burn them with cigarettes or do things to them.
Did all these things happen to you, like the physical abuse? to that
Well, it's happened in public, and it happened in the 90s, and there are articles. If you Google 90s Filmfare, Cineblitz, whatever, movie magazine, there were all those tabloids, and everywhere it states that I've been abused, and I'm a victim of abuse. I was so dumb enough. Well, I don't want to call myself dumb, because I don't want to self-deprecate, because it wasn't my fault. I don't want to victim blame myself. Uh, I just didn't have the knowledge. I thought it was a norm. And I truly believed that when I was told that I hit you because I love you, why don't I hit the neighbor? Why do I hit you? It's because I love you. I genuinely believed in that. And I was told that I'm a man, hence I can have affairs. You're a woman, you're not allowed to have affairs. So, being my mother's daughter, I went ahead and did everything opposite to what I was told to do as I turned 18, 19, by this person. And any advice that he gave me, I just took it with a grain of salt, and it went in one ear out the other. And I lost a lot of friends. I lost Manish and Karan were very close to me. They were really good friends, and I was told to say things to them that made me lose them as my friends. I lost Tabu, Ravina, uh, Pooja Bhatt, Manisha. I just spoke to Manisha. I'm so happy that she's so healthy, and thank God, mashallah, by the grace of God, she's doing so well. I wish nothing but the best for her. I had so many friends, but I was isolated by them, with them, because of this person. And he did not want me to go out with him, and I didn't want to go out. I was never a party person. I was a Monopoly Scrabble person. That's how I describe myself. I like to stay home and play Scrabble. And if you're asking a 27-year-old man who's the biggest star of India, don't go to this party where you might get a role in a Sanjay Leela Bansali film or Rajshri films, and sit and play Scrabble with me, he's going to think you're a lunatic. And so I was a bad fit. The relationship did not match. And, I was a child. You're a child. Your brain doesn't develop till you're 25. Hence, I left when I was 24. I had to complete my education, and I just decided I wanted to leave. I didn't want to stay anymore. And
who are some of your Bollywood friends that you can truly count on even now?
I'm trying to think. Well, everyone has distanced themselves from me, thanks to uh, see, the predators always have one thing in common, that um, that we're wired differently. Their wiring is that they don't have the wire of empathy in them. So, and they're very charming. No one will believe that they were ever capable of beating you or hurting you, or hurting an animal. And I'm speaking generally, not specifically about my incidents, but predators are very good at being manipulative, and they know how to
And that's why
handle.
I asked you, what kind of proofs do you have really to substantiate what you have gone through? It's because it's for a majority of people, it's
Because all my friends know that I was being abused. I told them. They've seen bruises. In Tisra Khan, I went to the set, which was a Pravesh Sippy, his father's film production, with Chunky Pandey. And I remember Pravesh Papi, who's a friend of mine, he told the makeup artist to put pounds and pounds of foundation on my arm and on my neck, because I had black and blue bruises. I was covered in bruises. And so everyone knew. Do you actually think that Amir and Shahrukh don't know that Salman beats his girlfriends? what he's done to Ash or Sangeeta or to whoever. I don't know anything about the other girls, but I can only imagine. Do people change? I hope he has changed, and I hope whoever he is with, that he treats her like a queen and puts her on a pedestal. I pray to God that he does that. But you cannot do bad and start a foundation and assume that you're going to get a penthouse in heaven because you've tried to create a balance between bad and good. Life doesn't work that way. That's like me opening up, starting No More Tears and rescuing the victims and then beating them. That's the best analogy I can come up with. That you can't start a foundation, and again, as human beings, we are not, there's no black and white. We're all gray. We're all sinners. We've all inadvertently or consciously made mistakes. I've hurt people, inadvertently, not consciously. Sometimes maybe consciously. I said some things to a young girl that I shouldn't have said, that was visiting Salman's house, because I was losing my mind. And she was wearing something very short, and I yelled at her and I said, "Don't come over here with such short clothes," because I was insecure, because
Care
I
about
was
the
I
relationship.
was cheated on so many times. So I was always insecure. And, coming from a household, growing up in a household where you're abused and told you're worthless and you're stupid and you're dumb and you will never amount up to anything when you grow up, you believe that. If you're said that enough times, you start believing that. And then when the person who's supposed to be your boyfriend and protect you, and you have a dream of marrying him and having children with him, is doing the worst and the most heinous uh, things to you, you're thinking, what is happening in life? What is going on? And the problem is, I reached out to Shah Rukh's manager, Pooja, and I asked her if I may speak to him on the phone, and she said he's busy, and I understood because Shah Rukh and Alvira and Gauri are very close friends, so I understood that. I asked Pooja, given he's out of town and he's very busy, but I knew exactly what was going on. I'm not stupid. I'm not 16 anymore. I wanted Shah Rukh to do a public service announcement for No More Tears, because we have so many victims from India and donors, a lot of donors from India. And I wanted Shah Rukh to do a public service announcement. I asked Zeenat, but Zeenat, who I'm still in touch with her, and Zeenat was busy. She recently got on Instagram. I'm so happy that her kids convinced her to do that, because, oh my God, Zeenat and Parveen Bali, oh my God, those two, they were absolutely gorgeous and stunning. And what Raji made Zeenat look like in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, I mean, oh my God, she was absolutely stunning, and she still is, and she's maintained herself, and she's so vociferous about things that take place, and she's so articulate in her speech, and she writes so well. If you read her posts on Instagram, I never miss a post of hers, and I never miss a reel or a post of Shah Rukh, because you can only gain wisdom from these two individuals. So coming back to the fact that I did endure domestic violence and heinous abuse, which I would not like to mention here and get into details. There's plenty of evidence, and I was even told by one of my actress's friends, "Why don't you come live with me?" I couldn't go back to the US for personal reasons. My mother and father were separated. My mother was engaged, not engaged, but engaged in activities where she was leading her own life. And some of the people that she was with, I didn't want to be there. And my father had started his own life in Pakistan after he chucked me in Syrup Hotel and just I was just sitting at a 16-year-old in a five-star hotel, and I remember there was a show called Star Buzz, and it said that agar aapko heroine banna hai, if you want to be an actress, get a portfolio done by Gautam Raj Adhyaksha, and here's his address. I quickly jotted it down, and because I used to watch Star Buzz, and it was all on VCR back in the day, you know.
Right.
We didn't have Apple TV and Netflix and all these OTT platforms. And I went to Gotham. I got a portfolio done, and Gotham and Mickey Contractor, he did my makeup, and he said, Gotham said, "You've got a lot of Zenith and Parveen in you going on."
Yeah.
And I found that to be the biggest compliment in the world, because I thought Parveen Bobby and Zeenat Aman, I still think they were the most beautiful women. Of course, number one for me will always be Rekha ji, because when I
I'm there.
saw Umrao John, I I mean, I was like, I have never seen a more beautiful woman in the world. And she's dusky. She's not super fair skin. She's gorgeous. Her features, and people here lie on the beach and get melanoma, lie to get a tan, where her skin complexion is beautiful, and the makeup and the saris. I mean, oh my God, I cannot stop. And when I learned in one of her interviews that she never had any dance training, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So, and then Madhuri Dixit, and but Rani and Kajol, I mean, and Shahrukh, I mean, whenever I'm feeling down, I'll watch Bawarchi, or I'll watch. I will not watch Kal Ho Na Ho. I cannot see Shahrukh dying, but I will watch Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, because I love Rani as a performer, and I think she's so beautiful, and she's so unaware. The most beautiful person in the world is when they're unaware of their own beauty. I believe so. And I think that Rani and Kajol, at a certain period of time, initially perhaps were unaware and oblivious to the fact as to how stunningly beautiful they were. And I just think that they're both gorgeous. And Shahrukh said that he's never seen a prettier set of eyes than those of Rani Mukherjee. And I totally 100% agree with him. And she really knows her craft. She's very good, and so is Kajol. Kajol made me cry when I was watching a scene. She was coming down the stairs and getting married to Salman, and Shah Rukh was there. I forget the name of the film. Uh, it was Karan's film, and Kajol was crying coming down the stairs because she was in love with Shah Rukh, and she was a tomboy. And Rani Mukherjee died in the film.
Right.
I forget. I think Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, or no,
Kuch Hota Hai.
Kuch Kuch. Thank you. So that film, and then just these movies move you. And then I like the anything done by Kangana and Tapsi. And I love Kangana's way of talking to the press and having
Same.
absolutely no filter. Because when I was a kid, and at 16, I didn't know there was something called trials, and they're rushes. You go and see movies before they come out. And I was invited to a trial, and I saw the rushes, and I came out, and I told the producer and the actor, I said, that's the crappiest film I've ever seen in my life. I did not know. I was an American kid. I did not know that you don't say that to people. So I thought you have to be honest. That's what at least my father and my mother taught me. You always tell the truth. So I learned that every trial I go to, I will always say it was a beautiful movie. Going forward after that one, my first time, I always said it's a wonderful movie, no matter how awful it was.
I see, Sobi, that Bollywood is still so alive in you. I think you need to go back to Bollywood for sure.
I don't know about that. It has to be something, I'm not going to do something that's nonsensical after having attained so much education. I'm not going to, waste rubbish take space in my brain. I'm not going to do that. And it has to be something substantial, subject matter, like Mrs. Chatterjee, what Rani did in Norway, those kind of movies. And that okay, I understand. I remember Salman once told me, because I was a huge fan of Manoj Bajpayee, and I still am. And Manoj Bajpayee had just come out at the time, and I loved his acting. I loved his movies. And then there was a movie with Rahul Bose, I think, called Mr. and Mrs. Khanna, or Iyer, Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, or Khanna, or something, with Konkana Sen. And what a beautiful movie. And like, I was a huge fan of those people, so those people would appeal to me. But unfortunately, when I finally decided and wanted to got my hand a little bit on what I should be doing as an actress, it was in a film with Om Puri ji and Jitu ji, and it was a remake of my favorite Takaji, called Chup. My film called Chup. After that, I went Chup and moved back to America. But sitting with Omji and rehearsing lines with him, and getting to act with him. I mean, this guy's a Hollywood star. This guy's a Bollywood star. He's done indie cinema. He's done American movies. And that's when I was like, oh, this is now, I want to act now. But things where I was living, or where I was in my mental state, were so bad for me that I had to leave, or I probably would have died. There was no way I would have survived.
So on that note, are you up for a quick rapid fire with us?
I'm sorry?
On that note, or are you up for a quick rapid fire with us?
Oh, Lord. Okay. These are supposed to be fun. Let's go. Yes.
Your comfort food?
Dal chawal and achar.
Dal chawal?
Achar. It has to be achar. Aam ka achar, nibu, aam or nibu achar mix, or dal chawal. And
Dal
I
chawal.
make that myself, but I eat whole wheat rice. But that's only on cheat days. Otherwise, I just drink the dal. That's it.
Perfect. Favorite fashion style?
Jeans and t-shirt.
Oh, simple. Who's better actor, Shah Rukh or Salman?
Shah Rukh. I don't consider Salman an actor. I consider Salman, if there's anything that's called luck, I think that's what he has. I think Shah Rukh is an actor in the true sense. I don't think Salman's an actor.
Better actress, Deepika or Alia?
Oh, that's a toughie.
Right?
That's a toughie, because Alia's, I just saw her film intentionally, because she performed a role which I do every day in my daily life, Gangubai something, where she
Right.
helps these women and fights for them to get an education. And I was like dumbfounded. I was like, this kid, I mean, I don't know how old she was when she did. I don't know her age. I
Alia
don't
is
know
at the
how.
next level altogether.
She's what? Yeah, she's the next level
Next level.
altogether.
Yeah.
And then I saw a movie of Deepika with Amidji, because I love Amidji also, and it was Piku, and I love Irfan Khan. And it's so sad that we lost him so early in life, and it's so sad. And Lunchbox, oh my God, my favorite. Lunchbox, Piku, and anything with Tapsi, Tapar. I mean, 10 years ago, do you think that the girl would actually have the audacity to leave over a slap? Would they depict that cinematically? No, never. But to depict that now is progression. I mean, the epitome of progression, I think.
Which Bollywood actor or actress you find smoking hot?
Ooh. I think Sunny Leone is absolutely stunning. I think Alia is very pretty. Deepika is absolutely gorgeous. And are you talking about the current people?
Anybody.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I cannot not say Rekha ji, Kajol, and Rani. They're all three. They're the most beautiful women in the world. I think so.
Okay. Someone you're truly obsessed with.
Oh boy, I'm truly obsessed with. Do I look up to or am I obsessed with?
Obsessed.
Okay, that would have to be.
Rajesh Khanna. You have an obsession over him, right?
Oh my God, more than that. Yeah. We went to his house. It was called Ashirwad. He invited us for a tea. And I remember he was so kind and so nice. So, yes, still obsessed with Rajesh Khanna. And too bad I never got to meet him.
One thing in your life that you can't get over.
Um, I'm not a vindictive person. I'm not a revengeful person. I I disassociate if you hurt me once or backstab me once. And I have a habit, and I tell people every time you leave a room, take a second before you close the door behind you and look back because people will be talking shit, excuse me, talking crap about you. And that's how the world works. And, so yeah,
Your all-time favorite movie?
Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna. That song,
Beautiful movie.
oh my God, and that song, Sonu Nigam is my favorite singer. And that song, Tumko bhi hai khabar, mujhko bhi hai pata, ho raha hai juda, hum dono ka rasta. I mean, he's such a good, his voice hits your soul to no end. I love him as a singer. After Kishore Kumar, Lata ji, Sonu Nigam is amazing. And the Shreya Ghoshal, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kumar Shanu back in my days.
Yeah.
All those people with Sanju and Mitunda, all the films I did with them. The singers, Kumar Shanu was huge. I believe was it Abhijit, I think was a singer. I don't know if he's still around. And now I heard Rakesh Shrestha's son is a big top photographer. And that's kudos to Rakesh Shrestha for teaching his son his craft, because Rakesh was an excellent photographer, and so was Jayesh. Jayesh is someone I'm still in touch with, and I used to just go hang out at his studio just to chit chat. And he was someone who was a confidant. I would confide in him, and he would give me solace and comfort. So there are a lot of people, but they couldn't speak up. They have to live in that bubble. They cannot pop that bubble. Shahrukh, Amir, anyone cannot pop that bubble. It takes a lot of audacity and guts. And it's very easy for me to sit in Miami, Florida and say that this happened to me. But if I were in India, it would be harder. And I understand and I empathize with the people who have refrained and completely isolated me again, all over again, after the banning of my documentary series, Discovery Plus. Because in the second episode, I did not mention any names, but I said that I was in an 8-year relationship, and it doesn't take rocket science to figure out who I was talking about. And I said that it was extremely abusive, and somehow that individual's PR team got wind of that, and they went to the Discovery Plus office in Mumbai, and they banned the entire show in the entire country. I was completely baffled and bewildered that how is that even possible? And that's the power of people that have clout and a huge platform. Look at Kareena Kapoor. She uses her platform and has a talk show. She uses it for good. Or Sonu Sood. Look at how much good he does. I mean, all of us who have platforms, from Priyanka Chopra to Halle Berry to, she built a domestic violence shelter. All of these people, kudos to them. If you have a platform and if you're blessed by whatever you believe, Allah, God, Bhagwan, Jesus, it doesn't matter, higher power, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're blessed, it is incumbent upon us to give back, and we have to speak up and talk about substantial problems and how we can change them. I mean, climate change is a big issue. Look at what Leonardo DiCaprio is doing about it. He's doing so much.
Yeah.
And so,
Thank you so much, Somi, for talking to us
of
today, and
course,
that too so openly, so candidly. We wish you good luck with all your current and future endeavors. Really
thank you so much.
appreciate
Thank you.
Gold Media.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting you if I do ever get there. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Hi, Gold Book viewers. I have a question for you. How do you think one should react if they are cheated on or they're abused? Please let me know.